We're heading to Rendcomb College in the next few minutes, actually, because the Riverside Players are there, busily preparing for the opening night of their summer production. I was there yesterday meeting them all. And the thing about the Riverside Players are that they live scattered around the UK and abroad, actually. They learn their lines, but they don't rehearse until a few days before the performance. And also they build the set when they arrive at Rendcomb College. And they're painting the set, preparing the costumes, everything's getting done. A lot to do. They throw themselves into it, and a team of 60 people working very hard. When it comes to most theatre performances, the cast spend a good few weeks or even months together rehearsing before the curtain goes up on the opening night. The Riverside Players like to do things a bit differently. All the cast live in the various corners of the UK. They learn their lines at home, then they gather at Rendcomb College each August for an intensive few days of rehearsals before the opening night, which this year is tomorrow night. As well as the actors, there are all sorts of people behind the scenes, building the set, getting the costumes ready. Around 60 people in total. I've been to Rendcomb College to see how it's all coming together.
When I say a good thing or tell a funny story, you must not all burst out a laughing as though you were part of the family.
Your worship has not tell the story of old Grouse in the gun room.
You've done really well there to get yourself under the table in time. Just remember, when we're here on stage, we haven't got quite as much room, OK? So at the end there, when you're saying, where am I supposed to go? I'm not sure. I'm sure I shouldn't be here. Use the middle bit of this stage as well, all right? You don't have to stay in that line. Thank you very much, everybody. Can we just carry on now?
So the director of She Stoops to Conquer is Gloria Wright, and you've had to put all this together in less than a week. You've been at Rendcomb College since Wednesday.
Well, yes, that's right. Although, to be perfectly honest, a lot of it has been done before. So, for example, what happened back in March was that we sent out all the information about the play and announced the auditions. So we held auditions in South Oxfordshire and Outer London. So people came along to that. They were cast off the back of those auditions back in March. And then at that point, the instruction is, learn your lines. Whilst they're doing that, then of course that's when I get to work with the set designer and the various other people who are involved in the production, in order to make sure that by the time we get here, everybody knows, in theory, what they're going to be doing from the moment that we sort of, we hit the ground.
Well, why don't you move?
If God, your worship, I never have any courage until the eatables and drinkables are brought up on the table. Then I'm as bold as a lion.
So we're outside now, and this is where the theatre performances will take place over the next few days. The team working on the set here have been here since last Wednesday. They started from scratch, and of course there is a deadline of the first performance. And as we mentioned, the Riverside Players come from all over the UK. Some come from further afield. Helen Southwick is with me. Where have you travelled from?
From Fiji, in actual fact. It couldn't get much further away. But yes, I came over in June. I do come over every year to spend time with my family. And my father has been involved with the Riverside Players for over 50 years. It's something I started off doing as a child, had a long break from, but came back to about 7 years ago. It's just amazing. It's a very important part of my life.
And what's it like flying over, knowing that actually you're kind of on holiday, but you've got quite an intense period of preparation for the performances?
Yes, this is the highlight of my trip over. I try and bring a few bits and pieces that I think might be useful, but I am known over here for sort of looking in skips and and bins for pieces of wood, cardboard, wire, just things that can be transformed into something else on set. You have to sort of think outside the square bit.
It must be great sort of linking up with everybody each year when you fly all the way from Fiji to be here.
But you come back and each year and it's like you saw them, well for me anyway, it's like I saw them last week. It doesn't feel like a whole year's gone by. Everything just slips back into being really familiar, and we do generally pull together as a team really well.
And what was the weather like in Fiji when you left there?
Well, it's winter there now, so actually, the week that I arrived in June, it was fantastic. It was a very hot week that we had at end of June here. It was hotter here than in Fiji, which I told everybody about, and I was wanting a fan to sleep at night. I don't cope with the cold very well anymore, but unfortunately the rain that you get here is cold rain. In Fiji we get lots of rain, but it's hot rain, warm rain.
Oh dear, yes, a bit of cold rain around, I think, at the moment.
We're keeping our fingers crossed that it's going to turn, that we're going to get some warmer days towards the end of this week.
And you've got memories of performing, haven't you, going back to the 1960s?
Yes, I'm afraid so. I hate to admit it. But yes, we've always tried to include younger members of the company, you know, whether it be as a fairy or a little maid, or just so. And I remember having a lovely costume made for me when I was a fairy, and having wings, and it was just the excitement of it all, you know. And you just don't lose that magic. It stays, the memories stay with you for forever, really. It's a very important part of my background.
We'll be back with the Riverside Players. We'll hear from some more of the group after the news at 4 o'clock. Let's return to Rendcomb College then. The pupils aren't there yet, of course, but instead intense preparations are being made for a theatre production there later this week. The Riverside Players have been going since 1951, but they don't have a permanent home, and this means that they learn all their lines on their own at home. Then they all come together a few days before the opening night for an intense few days of rehearsals. They basically rehearse for about 12 hours a day in the days leading up to the production. This is their 4th year at Rendcomb College. The opening night is tomorrow night, and since last Wednesday they've been building the set, making the costumes and the wigs, and making sure all the props are just right. And by the way, the production this year is She Stoops to Conquer, which is a classic. It's a comedy, it's very funny, and it's on from Wednesday until Saturday. So let's hear now from the wardrobe department. So we've met the people working on the set, we've met the actors who are busy rehearsing, but they need something to wear, don't they? They need some costumes to wear. Marilee Stevenson is here, Joint Head of Wardrobe, and you've got your team working very hard here at Rendcomb College. How much work is there for you to do in the week leading up to the production?
An awful lot of work. We start at 9 in the morning and we pack up usually about 9:30 in the evening, when all of us are sort of cross-eyed with looking at bits of material and needles and things like that. But it's a good spirit here, and we know what we're doing, so it's really useful to have a team of people. You just say, can you go and make 3 mob caps? Yep, okay, off they go and do it, so yeah.
And how much preparation do you do before arriving at the college? Because I'm imagining you keep a lookout during the year for potential costumes.
We have a costume store at Progress Theatre in Reading, and before we come on tour, the other head of department, who's not here today, she and I go and rummage in that costume store for anything that might be useful and put that aside. And that happens about a month or 2 before the tour. Then we begin to look for curtaining. If we're doing restoration, curtaining fabric is exactly the thing you need. Or for any other fabric, we order fabric if we need it. We look out for trimmings in charity shops. They do a really good trade from us. And then we let the company who are coming on tour we let them know what they need to bring if they have any remote idea of being on stage. So a basic kit.
And of course, once you're here, well, Cirencester is just down the road. Do you find yourself nipping into Cirencester?
Oh yes, we do. There's a very good sewing shop in Cirencester and a few charity shops as well. So yes, we walk in and make the most weird requests, and they look slightly askance. So we say, we're from the theatre group at Wren. Oh yes, all right. They know us now.
My name is Mary Farnell, and I'm currently the Administrative Company Director of the Riverside Players. I have been a member since I was a tiny baby. My father was one of the co-founder members, and the company was first set up in 1951 by a group of students from the Central School of Speech and Drama. They decided to get together once a year just to keep in touch, and thought they'd do something a little bit more useful than just going to the pub. So said, let's put on a play. We've developed and grown over the last 66 years to include family members, friends. It's very much a family-orientated company. We are remote in terms of our work throughout the 12 months of the year, and then we gather in August to bring together all of the work done through the year to produce a play every year, and then we tidy up, go home at the end of the fortnight and then start again for the following year.
For the last 4 years, you've been here in Gloucestershire at Rendcomb College, which has some absolutely beautiful views in gorgeous summer weather, which of course you'll have later on this week.
Yes.
But what's kept you coming back to Rendcomb?
I think certainly, as you say, it's such a stunning setting. We have had several venues over the years, but we definitely regard Rendcomb as our best one yet. The staff here are incredible. They really do look after us, and everything that we need they accommodate and more. The setting is beautiful, but also everything that we need is very close together, so we don't have to walk from one end of the campus to the other. And there are several areas in which we could produce the play. There's lots of open spaces because we are essentially an outdoor production company, but there is an indoor alternative should there be inclement weather, which I'm sure we won't get this week.
And what's it like on the final night then, after so much work and all the performances? You've been here before. What's the atmosphere like?
We have several traditions that take place on the final night. We'll all have a bit of a party back in the house that we live in, and we have a small ceremony to recognise certain behaviours and funny things that have happened through the fortnight. It's great fun and there's lots of giggles, and as I say, it is a tradition that goes on from grandfather to son to grandchild, and it's a really lovely atmosphere, and I'm very, very proud that my dad first started it.
Thanks to Mary and the team from the Riverside Players chatting to me yesterday, just taking time out of their very busy rehearsals and busy painting the set, getting all the costumes ready as well. It's a bit like a Strictly Come Dancing costume department there. There are about 4 people working on the costumes, sewing machines going, getting them all ready and making sure they fit as well. So the performance is called She Stoops to Conquer. It's a comedy, and the opening night is tomorrow night. It runs till Saturday, and it's £10 to go on Wednesday, 12 Thursday, 14 Friday, back to 12 on Saturday. And if you're under 18, it's £5 for all the performances. So I hope it goes really well. Lovely to meet them all. And if you want to see what's going on behind the scenes,